Todd, the numbers for Zach Edey, rookie year, after Paulie joined the hype train last night watching Summer League. You know what, Paulie? You go first.
Oh.
I want you to set the market.
Set the bar. All right. The Zach Edey game. Didn't see this one on the schedule.
No.
You know, they're notoriously love their big men down in Memphis, going back to the Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol era. Zach Edey's going to play a lot. I think he's going to average 11 points and 8 rebounds plus a game. 11 and 8. Wow. Now, that doesn't sound huge. Only one guy in last year's draft averaged 11 and 8 was Wembanyama.
All right, Todd. Zach Edey.
I wrote down 14.6 points and 7.4 rebounds.
All right, Seton O'Connor.
I'm going 14 points, 15 rebounds. He's going the inverse of what it normally is. He's going to average more rebounds than points.
Paulie was bullish on Zach Edey. You're really bullish.
Really bullish.
Yes. Marvin?
9.7 points, 11.4 rebounds.
I'm going to give Zach Edey 7 points, 5 rebounds per game.
You're poo-pooing.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Let's bring in Joe Vardon. He covers the NBA. He's covering Team USA and the tune-up versus the select team. All right, Joe, do you want in on this with Zach Edey? What kind of numbers do you think he averages his rookie year in Memphis?
I want to put a little bit different spin on this because the last thing I did last night before dinner and drinks, of course, was Team Canada practice. And that team is loaded. They're really good, but they are missing anybody who's big and tall and bodies that can bang with Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo on Team USA. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Dan, as far as what I think his numbers will be in the NBA this year. But I'm telling you, on a team that has everything else, which Canada does, they are missing that size down low against the Americans.
Why is he not playing?
So I guess he wanted to get ready for his first NBA season. That's the line out of Toronto.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, listen, it's up to these guys, but Canada has a real chance at a gold.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he didn't play a ton for them last year, and they finished third at the World Cup. They beat the US. It was a different US team, but still, like, his minutes weren't there really. So I guess, he just wanted to devote all his time to getting ready for his rookie NBA campaign. But so this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that everybody has.
How did Cooper Flagg end up on this select team?
So there's a number of, connections, of course, between Team USA basketball's program and Duke, and chief among them is Grant Hill, one of the greatest college players of all time, who's now the managing director there. But also, Sean Ford, who's been sort of running USA basketball for decades, and has a very keen eye for talent and for keeping the pipeline, flowing. Given Cooper's credentials as National Player of the Year, but also like he was already in the USA pipeline playing for the U17 team 2 years ago that won gold at the World Cup. And so you put all that together and he gets the invite. Cooper was surprised to get the invite. He's the first college player to do anything at a USA national team camp since Marcus Smart and Dougie McDermott in 2013. But he's so young. I mean, he's 17. He's like one of the youngest players ever to do this. So it was a surprise, but I mean, obviously it turned out pretty well.
How good was he yesterday?
So, okay. He was really fun to watch. He hit 2 threes while we were watching. He had an awesome putback over the USA defense. Davis was on the floor at the time that it happened. He was in passing lanes. Drew Holiday had to guard him, and I know that Drew is only 6'3", whereas Cooper is 6'9"ish. But Drew is he's one of the best defenders in the NBA, so that really kind of speaks to what everybody thought of Cooper. But the reason why I flinched is you are still talking about a USA team that is ramping up. And I never thought in watching that scrimmage yesterday that the USA guys were playing at full tilt, whereas Cooper seemed like he was moving pretty quickly. So, I want to temper it a little bit but the reaction from all the other select guys and the select coaches, and then even some of the NBA guys on Team USA, like spoke very, very highly of Cooper. And I guess you could see, like, I hadn't seen very much of him. And so I walked away from the gym yesterday saying, oh, I get it. I understand why he's the presumptive #1 pick in 2025.
But this reminds me of the Dream Team. When the Dream Team got roughed up, that first scrimmage with college players, Mashburn was there, and I think Hurley was there. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait, you guys are playing really serious here. Is there going to be payback for Cooper Flagg? Are they playing any more games against each other?
I'm glad you brought that up. You know who else was on that team was Grant Hill. He was on the select team. So it kind of comes full circle. There will be no brushback, no chin music today, as the select guys have been sent home. Today is a walkthrough, some light shooting to get ready for Canada. However, there was a little bit of payback, but it was Cooper. In the team scrimmage on, let's see, today's Tuesday, so this would have been Sunday. Pretty good game going. And I guess Cooper pulled up for a 3 and Davis got out to the perimeter and blocked it. And I guess he sent it into into the wall. Pretty good block. And so then yesterday he comes down, same situation. Davis tries to get out there and he's late and Cooper splashes it in the corner. So that was a moment that a lot of guys were talking about.
If not the United States for the gold, then who?
Oh gosh, I think Canada. I'm really high on them. I think they're very good. I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to France. I know that they are, from a roster perspective, they're weak at the guard position, but they're starting at least 2 7-footers in Victor and in Rudy Gobert. And then you got to remember, like Fournier, I mean, he plays like Larry Bird when he's got that France jersey on. So I like them. I do. Germany's the defending World Cup champs, and they're real. And then, we got to talk a little bit about Serbia. They were the runner-up at the World Cup last year. They beat Canada to send Canada into the bronze game against the U.S., and they didn't have Nikola Jokic. So they're bringing back a bunch of their players from the World Cup team, and now Nikola is going to be on the floor, and I think he'll be motivated to play. So it will be fascinating to see this overwhelming amount of superstar talent that the USA has. But when you have to distill it down to only 5 guys on the floor at a time, there's only one ball, and how much better the rest of the world is in general, what kind of impact Nikola can make on a game, I think it's going to be fascinating.
Compare this Olympic team to the Dream Team, talent-wise.
Yeah, I have to say, either if you want to use the word talent or if you want to use resume, this team has more has more than the Dream Team, because you have to think about, if you want to say Michael's here and LeBron's here, fine, but the greatest, most decorated player in U.S. history is Kevin Durant. He's on this team. And then you add in Steph Curry, who's the greatest shooter of all time. One of the greatest players of all time. He's on this team. There are 11 current All-Stars, and I believe all 12 of these guys have been All-Stars at some point, but 11 of them were on the All-Star team last year. Like that has I don't believe that has ever happened. And then, the Dream Team had a college player. This team does not. So, I guess the thing that sort of evens this out a little bit is this team is older, right? LeBron is 39. Durant is upper 30s. Same with Steph. Kawhi Leonard, same thing. So maybe some of those guys might be slightly past their primes, whereas as Michael and company they were still in their prime. But I think this team is actually the more impressive roster.
I guess I was surprised that Kawhi Leonard is playing in the Olympics from the standpoint of, if I'm Steve Ballmer, I just lost Paul George. Like, what do I have? Like, this guy, load management. Is he going to load management in the Olympics as well? And if you're Steve Ballmer, how do you feel about Kawhi Leonard playing in the Olympics?
So the answer to your question is yes. He played maybe a quarter yesterday. He played more the day before. So yeah, they are being careful with him. And they have to, like, Kawhi says that he feels pretty good. He says he's ramping up. So I don't think he feels great. But to your Ballmer point, which is an excellent point, but we have to go back to 1989. And that was the year that the international governing body for basketball had this big vote and decided that pros could play in these competitions. So they could be in the Olympics, they could play for the World Cup. It was called the World Championships at the time. So David Stern and the NBA Board of Governors at that time had a decision to make. Are we, as an NBA, which at the time was mostly Americans, are we going to do this? And if we are, then are we going to get in the way if we don't want a player to play? And they decided that they were obviously going to be involved. And that decision also came with another decision that owners and teams could not tell a player that they can't play for their country. So the Clippers are obviously concerned about Kawhi's, future, his health and his future, as far as being able to help them open this building. And everybody wants to be cautious, but they actually can't step in and say, no, you can't do this.
Good to visit with you, Joe. Thank you for all the information, the download there, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you guys.
That's Joe Vardon, senior NBA writer for The Athletic, covering Team USA, the tune-up games, the select team in Las Vegas.